What's going on, everyone? I'm just your regular, average, everyday, atypical Canadian nerd here to react to your average, everyday American man here to react to and learn about a video about weird things that only exist in Canada, such as me. I'm a weird one. I get it. And I'm only here. I'm not there. I wish I was there. Man, that would be pretty cool. Why don't you send me a message? I'll invite me over. Maybe I'll take a trip and we can do stuff. I'll leave the noisy cat here at home. She'll get taken care of. Don't worry about it. And, well, before we get into this, I'd just like to invite you to like the video on your way in. Subscribe if you want to hear more of my voice. Let me know in the comments if there's other types of things you'd like to hear me talk about or watch me review or whatever. You know, I'm open to ideas and I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. And that's okay because it's about progress, not perfection. On that note, please pay attention because later in the video, and I don't know when, we're going to explore the French word of the day, which is something that's been requested of me that I plan on doing regularly. And with that said, let's get this picture out of the way. We'll get this video started.
What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about weird things that only exist in Canada? Talk about the perfect, clickbait title. As soon as I saw this title, Weird Stuff You Can Only Find in Canada, I was like, I have to watch this. I have no choice.
And the clickbait is true, because in a lot of these videos, you watch them and you think, that's not weird at all.
But to watch this, I'm not going the rest of my life without knowing all the weird stuff you Canadians are doing. What are you doing over there? That's...
Well, one weird thing is that we put cheese curds and a type of gravy on our French fries and call it a meal.
That's so weird. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I was trying to think. What's weird stuff that we do in the United States? What only exists in the United States that's weird?
Oh, some of the breakfast cereals. Like, last time I was at an American, American as in the United States of America, grocery store, I was on vacation. This is 2019, you know, back in the before times. And I found a box of cereal that was Sour Patch Kids breakfast cereal. I had to buy it because it was just so ludicrous to me. And it was indeed very silly.
Well, I bet a ton of stuff that I don't know of because I'm living in it. But I don't know, like the not using the metric system, like our weird imperial units of measurement.
Yeah, there's like a handful of countries in the world that still use Fahrenheit, which, interesting information about Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is the temperature that measures how humans feel. Celsius is the temperature that measures how water feels. And Kelvin is the temperature that measures how atoms feel. Makes a lot more sense now.
That's kind of weird, but I am more than excited to learn about a list of weird things that are only in Canada. How can stuff only be in Canada? Does that mean it's either really horrific, like horrible, terrible stuff that the rest of the world just doesn't want?
Like Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka, who are from the Niagara region, and they were horrible, horrible people that did terrible crimes.
Is that what we're talking about? Or is it just so unique and the rest of the world can't figure out how to recreate it? It's so unique.
Okay, so that example would be like the Nanaimo bar, our most favorite baked good that doesn't need to get baked.
Uniquely Canadian. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. The curiosity is at its peak level. Let's take a look.
I am extremely Canadian. I was born and raised in southern Alberta. It sounds like a hockey player on a tractor. Southern Alberta, you know? And I've lived on the west coast and the east coast. And I'm multicultural, which is like, you know, melting pot, Canada. I'm as Canadian as it gets. And I want to know if these stereotypes pertain to me and if they're true. And if they are, I'll definitely let you know about that. This is an intense moment in Toronto. The tensions between the protesters and the cops, very, very intense. I love how he...
Oh, okay. So
I'm not quite sure what was going on there or when that happened. I guess pandemic was weird for everybody.
this girl is extremely Canadian. But honestly, I don't know why, but she acts super American. Maybe that's just further proof that Canadians and Americans are super similar.
Well, yes, we inhabit the same part of the world. We consume a lot of the same media. We have a lot of similarities, especially since she was from southern Alberta, which means close to the border. Yeah.
Because I would never have been able to tell just by the way she speaks and her humor that she's not American. But anyway, interesting anecdote.
Poke
Fair.
holes in his water bottle. He's using the only weapon that he should be using, his water bottle, and he's getting sprayed in the face. I love Canada. I really do.
Oh, yeah, that looks like the good fun times that Canadians and police have. We're not adversarial like the United States and their police. We get along pretty well, you know?
Wait, are you trying to tell me right now that you guys didn't have Dunkaroos? There's no way you guys didn't have Dunkaroos. That's impossible. I'm like scared.
Wait, were Dunkaroos only Canadian? So for those not aware, Dunkaroos are basically cookies that you would dip in icing. Wow. The 90s were unhealthy.
Dunkaroos a Canadian thing. I'm scared. If they're a Canadian thing, I don't know what to tell you.
Dunkaroos. I swear that we have Dunkaroos. But
Good.
then again, there's a lot of different brand names for those little snacks you get as kids where you dunk the thing into a thing. Dunkaroos does sound familiar, though. Anyway.
Like, that's just really sad. Maybe just cinnamon graham is a Canadian thing, but I really genuinely hope that you guys aren't growing up and not eating Dunkaroos.
I think she's actually correct. I think the flavor is what's Canadian, because I'm almost positive we have Dunkaroos.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw Dunkaroos in TV commercials for shows and stations from the United States, but, you know, I grew up in a forest in Ottawa, and I had 10 TV channels. Half of them were French, so, yeah, who knows?
Huh. That seems like a thing Americans would just chow down on.
As for Ruffles poutine, never seen it. Ketchup chips are a thing here, and we
Oh, yes, ketchup chips have been a thing as long as I've been alive, and I didn't even think they were weird.
do like them
This is going by quick. Hold on. Poutine.
Dunkaroos. As for
Ruffles poutine. Yeah. We definitely don't have poutine, and we.
I haven't seen it on store shelves, but I'm also not looking for it. And the all dressed right beside the poutine bag, totally a Canadian favorite. And what does all dressed taste like? Yes.
Definitely don't have Ruffles poutine. And don't even get me started about the ketchup chips.
Ruffles poutine, never seen it. Ketchup chips are a thing here, and we do like them here. I hate them, but a lot of people like them.
I loved them when I was a kid, but I also like to put ketchup on anything, everything, like even just rice. Yeah, smother that in ketchup. And some point in my teenage years, I got sick of ketchup, and now I don't even have it in my house. The closest thing I have to ketchup is a bottle of pizza sauce.
Terry, do you like ketchup chips? Terry loves ketchup chips. They don't actually taste like ketchup. They just kind of do, in a good way.
That's true, yeah. They have a bit of a tomato-y flavor, but it's mostly salt and sugar.
Okay. Like, that's a funny way to put it, because a lot of Americans are exactly like that, where we like, I don't know, like strawberry flavored whatever, Jolly Rancher. But we like it because it's like the fake strawberry flavor. It doesn't really taste like a strawberry, but we kind of like the fake artificial strawberry flavor. It kind of grows on you.
Kind of like blue raspberry. That's not a thing.
Kind of like ketchup chips.
Like, they're not horrible. And I think that if they were in most countries, you would like them. Bags of milk, very common in Ontario, but it wasn't common where I grew up. If you ask people here why bagged milk is a thing, they get offended and they're like,
They get offended. There's no way. But why? Why bagged milk? I still don't know if I understand. Is it a recycling thing? Plastic rather than paper? But okay, I could sit here all day trying to rationalize bagged milk.
Yeah, bagged milk has a whole history about it that has to do with, like, the volume versus amount that is to be sold versus the containers and shipping, storage and stacking. I like to just say, hey, did you know that your Coca-Cola comes in a bag, in a can? So take away the can, what do you have? A bagged drink. Bagged milk, there you go.
Whatever, you can have it.
what do you mean? That's like how it should be. And they get kind of defensive about it. So beaver tails, I don't know what these are. But
Okay, beaver tails are a delicious fried dough dessert that can be topped with things. Yeah, maybe I should go get a beaver tail and film it. Let me know if you want that, because that'll encourage me to go out and do it, because the more I have people telling me, yes, do the thing, I'm more likely to do the thing.
But like I hear about them a lot because I live here. There's not much of an appeal to me. I prefer crepes, yeah. You like them? No, they look gross.
Oh, see, okay, look at that. You might not like pretzels, but they're sitting on top of Nutella, on top of something that is just fried dough covered in sugar and cinnamon. It's delicious, and the sugar gets all over my mustache and all in my beard, and one bite just sends a poof of sugar and powder, and they're real messy, and they're great.
They look
I saw somewhere along the line, looking at Canadian things on the internet, beaver tails. This exact photo, actually, come to think of it. And they actually look really, really good. I think Americans would love these, but they are definitely a Canadian thing.
like
Oh, very much so. Heck, I grew up at the local agricultural fair known as the Carp Fair, probably the best agricultural fair in the Ottawa region, at least, and maybe in eastern Ontario as a whole. Anyway, there was beaver tail stands and poutine stands, and that was probably the best part of going to the fair, was enjoying a poutine and having a beaver tail before hopping on some rides and, I don't know, seeing some cows and horses.
too much. Like that's a lot of Nutella.
It looks like too much. That's exactly why the Americans would love it, because
Yeah.
it is definitely too much, but that's perfect.
I just can't. It's too much for me. I'm a simple woman, okay? Every time I have a package that I'm sending to somebody who's not a native to Canada, I send them one of these, a coffee crisp. If you've never had one before, I'm so genuinely
Coffee crisp.
Yes, this is a Canadian candy bar staple, and, well, let's see if I can describe it. It's wafers with coffee flavor covered in chocolate. Oh, that was easy.
Is it coffee flavored? What's the appeal here? It looks like any old candy bar.
And that is the appeal. It is any old candy bar. Yeah, oh, well, this is a thumbnail, isn't it?
Coffee crisp has a nice name too. Looks nice. Never heard of it.
sorry because this is the best chocolate bar of all time.
For a long time, it was my favorite candy bar.
Although it's like up there with Twix, but I would say it's better. And it tastes like coffee, and it's good. And it's like a nice
Oh.
light, like, oh, I wish I had one right now. Canada is a country of
Okay.
weather contrasts. This is true to an extent. It'll rain and then snow and then be sunny and warm in the same day, but that's like more the exception and not the rule.
Unless you live in certain parts of Quebec where that's kind of normal.
They obviously either like shoveled the actually they didn't. This is like fresh snow here. So what probably happened is like the sun melted the snow here, but it's
Yeah.
probably still really cold outside. Like this guy's just doing this for the picture.
I mean, in the United States, we have individual states that like to have like a thing kind of similar to this, where in certain states they're like, the weather here is so random. Or in other states, it's like, oh, it's always hot, or it's always cold. And then there's some that are like Canada, where it's like, you never know what's going to happen day to day.
Absolutely correct. Just a few days ago, it was cold enough I was thinking of putting on sleeves and long pants. I usually wear a t-shirt and shorts because it's summertime. And then yesterday, the temperature shot up to over 30 degrees during the daytime for most of the daytime. Well, that was within just a few days. But there was this one time I was staying in Bagotville, Quebec, and I swear it was a bright sunny day, not a cloud to be seen in the middle of summertime, and it was snowing with tornado warnings. Yeah, it can be weird. And where I grew up, and this was back in the 90s, we could have a nice hot sunny day, and in the shade of the trees there was still snow with little white flowers popping out of it. They were called snowdrops, and that was June.
So that's almost kind of similar.
Here's another piece of proof. We are living in 3 seasons at once right now. There's like the trees with the grass, like the green grass over here. This kind of looks like a transition between fall and winter. I don't see summer or spring. I see spring here. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, sure, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I think those are cold weather flowers, and that looks like October to me.
Yeah. Again, most Americans do assume that Canada is a frozen winter wasteland, but I know better. I know better now.
Canada's
Well,
Prime
for
Minister
many, for many months of the year, we do live in a frozen wasteland, and it feels like it's cold and dead and lasts forever.
Justin Trudeau doesn't feel shy about showing his outstanding socks. Yeah, we have a hot Prime Minister. So what? He wears cool socks. So what? He's a nice guy. Look at those socks. Oh, wow.
That's all debatable, but hey, those are socks.
The whole internet was like crapping their pants about it. They were like, oh, Star Wars socks, how cool. But they bother me because they don't match.
I'm actually surprised more American politicians don't do that. I really am surprised. Maybe some of the new generation of American politicians will get with it and start wearing like Star Wars socks. That would actually make people like them. That's not even a joke. I need to tell someone about this.
Oh, yeah. Gee, I hope Ramaswamy listens to that, because that would be really cool, and then he might get voted in the office.
Like like a politician needs to pay me for this information about what Canadian politicians are doing to rise in the polls, wear cool socks. It's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah, I gotta say, once Pierre Poilievre, a conservative politician here in Canada, once he took off the glasses and started wearing tight t-shirts, his popularity really exploded.
Whatever. We love these Canadian socks right here. Is there anything more important than going to classes? Hockey is! This is... True. This is true. Yeah. True. Guilty.
Hey, this is one of the stereotypes about Canada that, as far as I can tell, it seems to me from all I've heard, from everything I've heard, the limited stuff I've heard, to be fair, it's kind of true. It's kind of true.
Guilty as charged. And actually, my high school that I went to, like, there were a lot of, like, hockey players who went pro. My school was, like, a farm school for them, and it was pretty fun for me. Is that just, like, me saying I'm a slut? Canada...
Yes.
is not just about the maple syrup. We also have maple water. This is actually true. And if you've never tried maple water, it is delicious and you should have it. Apple juice is fun. Orange juice is fun. Water with like a slight taste of maple sap is...
I'd like to one-up that. Water is the best. Like, really, just get yourself a nice big container, fill it with cold water maybe it's been filtered, maybe it's just been sitting in the fridge, and enjoy. It's really good.
I feel like Canadians are actually so used to maple syrup that they have lost the ability to, or maybe I'm the one with the problem, but they have lost the ability to realize how strange it is to have maple syrup flavored stuff.
Yeah, really, when you think about it, maple syrup itself is very strange. I mean, we tap into a tree, we steal its blood, and then we boil it to get all the water out, and then maybe we pour it on some snow to make a nice treat. It is a weird thing.
Especially water. Water may have been the last thing I ever expected to be maple syrup flavored. That literally sounds like a joke that an American would make. That sounds like a joke that an American would say, oh, they probably have maple syrup flavored water.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty funny, you know, even without context of knowing that it's true.
And then it's true. No, it's true. I'd be really interested to try it, to be perfectly honest. I'd want to try a lot of this stuff.
It's delicious, and I highly recommend you try it. Isn't it good?
I haven't tried it, I just have it at home.
Maple water is so Canadian that my friend here has it in her fridge, but hasn't tried it yet. You gotta have it just in case.
That surprises me. I would have thought that was like a novelty or something.
I think it is a novelty, but also I don't drink fruit juice or soda pops or flavored water.
Like, it's like saying we have ranch flavored water.
I wouldn't be surprised.
In the United States. We're pretty sick, but we're not that sick.
Yeah, some people are.
You know?
Bacon ketchup. Where the country meets the mountains, I would say that I've never tried that. Sounds gross, but I'd try it. It's got that, like, hot moose on it. I can never say no to a hot moose. In Canada, there are clocks where the time is represented by birds. In this case, it's almost song sparrow o'clock. I've never seen this in my entire life.
I've actually seen a clock like this before.
Yeah, me too. And this is the first time it's actually made sense to me, because there are different parts of the day where you will hear different bird songs.
Maybe it's just a bird fan thing. Not really a Canadian or American thing. I've just seen... I swear I've seen this clock.
This is like some kind of nerd stuff that I've never heard of. We don't do nerd
Yeah.
stuff where I'm from. We drink beer in a ditch and pretend it's camping where I'm from. Warning, invincible moose. He will crack your tractor in half. Moose? I wanted to call them meese. Mooses are big. Mooses are strong. Mooses are very Canadian. Big, strong Canadians. I bet he would apologize after. And I don't like how people make fun of Canada for like always apologizing, because like it's rude to not apologize. If you bump into someone, you don't say, oh, excuse me. You say, oh, sorry. Like, right? If you don't say sorry, then I think that's very rude. Please do not.
I agree. Manners are important. And no, the moose will not apologize. And yes, the moose will destroy your tractor.
Okay, yep. Now the Canadians are defending their over-apologies. That's fine. I would much rather live in a civilization that is overly apologetic than the other way around.
Yes, you ever bump into someone or accidentally scuff their shoes and then a fight ensues? Oh, heck, there have been times where I've just been somewhere and someone was trying to pick a fight because I looked in the wrong direction. Like, that's weird. America can be a scary place. And back when I was growing up, if you scuffed someone's shoes, you might get stabbed.
So I actually don't mind that at all. I had to rewind this, because you can't just gloss over this moose sign. Because although this might be a common occurrence in Canada, maybe. Do you have rabid mooses taking down tractors?
No, it's not that they're rabid. It's that they are gigantic and they are heavy and they do what they want. And we will go through their territory and they are not happy about that. So yes, the moose will destroy your vehicle and you should best stay out of their way.
Everywhere? I don't know. Maybe. You have a sign dedicated to it. Maybe you do. I don't know. But this sign is kind of badass from an American who's never seen a moose danger, it's gonna flip over your car sign. This is weird to me.
Yeah, moose are pretty weird, you know. A land mammal that is gigantic and very peaceful, and their number one natural predator is a killer whale.
So I just felt like I had to point that out.
Say, oh, excuse tampons, pads, say, oh, sorry, like, right? If you don't say sorry, then I think that's very rude. Please do not flush tampons, pads, diapers, poultry, old love letters, promises, ashes of unloved ones, babies, alligators, baby alligators, dead goldfish, hopes and dreams. Thank you.
Well, that seems like a comedy sign, but it's not wrong.
We had this sign at my high school so that we wouldn't flush our hopes and dreams. Canadian deer.
I don't get it. Wait, what does this mean? Are Canadians... Is this Canadian humor? Or are Canadians very worried about clogging their toilets?
Yes and yes. We take our plumbing very seriously, and we don't want alligators in our sewer systems. We don't want dead goldfish in our water purification plants. And tampons and pads are not biodegradable products, so they also don't belong in the septic tanks. That makes sense to me. Plus, your hopes and dreams, you should never poop them out. Always keep them inside you forever, even if they cause a backup. Wow, that was weird. And welcome to Canada, where the weird things exist.
I am not sure I understand the reference here, but it is a funny sign. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it. Maybe it's just a funny sign. Okay, I can accept that.
But seriously, don't flush your babies down the toilets.
Thank you. We had this sign at my high school so that we wouldn't flush our hopes and dreams. Canadian deer using crosswalks when crossing the road. I think that that's just an accident. Vandalism in Canada comes with a tinge of proper etiquette. Sorry about your wall. You should apologize about the wall. Although, is this like really Canada? Do we know this? Has there been like some research done to verify this?
Yeah, there's some stuff here that's clearly like memes.
I don't know. I mean, the deer using the crosswalk, they're not dumb. They can learn, they can observe, you know. I've seen turtles using crosswalks that were made for the turtles.
And coincidence, like the polite deer following the traffic sign or road marking, and the polite vandalism. But a lot of this stuff, other stuff, is actually like obviously true, which is fascinating to me.
Well, is this like really Canada? Do we know this? Has there been like some research done to verify this? I believe it, but like, I'm trying to be skeptical because all of these so far have been like pretty accurate. They're even sorry about selling limited editions. Sorry, only for a limited time. That makes sense. What's wrong with that? Why is...
Yeah, agreed. Like, how is that an issue or a problem or not something that happens other places?
She keeps defending it too. That's funny. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like the truth that Canadians are very apologetic and sorry. It's fine. It's nice. It's nice.
Thank you, and you are welcome.
You know? But don't say that it's not true, because it seems like it's true.
They're even sorry about selling limited editions. Sorry.
I mean, this sign, is this... I would have told you that this sign is meant to be funny, a joke, because it has the word sorry on it.
And it's printed on a maple leaf, yeah. But that's also Tim Hortons for you.
But now I don't think it's a joke. I think that the distributors of this... What is this stuff? Pop play? We're actually sorry.
That would be the poppy, which is a little red flower that symbolizes the First World War in Flanders fields. The poppies grow, or the poppies blow between the poppies grow between the crosses row on row. And anyway, it's a whole poem written by a Canadian. It took place during the First World War, where poppies would show up on the battlefield, representing where people had fallen. And so on Remembrance Day, which is like the version of Veterans Day that we have here in Canada, where we remember those who died in all wars, past and present, we wear a little red poppy over our hearts to show that we care. And so the poppy, it's a thing. November 11th at 11:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And that's nice of them, you know? I don't mind it.
What's wrong with that? Why is that unique? Why is that different? Why is it bad to be mindful of other people's emotions? It's kind of like how I say like eh or like hey. Like I'm always like, eh, it's pretty nice out here, eh? It's a very inclusive thing to say, and that's why I say it. Otherwise it's nice today, ...
I think that's actually correct, that the world would be, on average, a much better place if more nations were like Canada and people had it in their mind to be mindful, apologetic, care about disrupting others, and, you know, being on the spectrum that is overly concerned and apologetic and caring for their fellow man would be fantastic. But it's just Canada. That's why it's such a magical place, though. It's a good thing.
You know, just a few days ago, I was at a local game store playing some Magic the Gathering, a card game. And, well, it's a big nerd event. And we hear a lot of other people at the other tables talking. And I heard one person say some curse words and another person yell out, "Language! We're in a PG-13 environment." And we didn't think anything of it because he was right.
Unless, like, I don't want it to get weird, you know? I just want to be like, hey, yeah, eh? Snowing, not an issue. Nothing can stop people from learning. This guy is wearing shorts and a t-shirt in a snowstorm, and I will say I did that growing up. It would be like negative 40 degrees Celsius, and I'd be wearing like a little windbreaker and like shorts and walking to school. I don't know why I was so opposed to like wearing winter apparel.
You know, I knew some people when I was growing up, they would do the same or similar thing. Of course, minus 40 is a little ridiculous to not be covered up. That was hyperbole. But let's say it was like -20 and it was actively snowing. Yes, there were people wearing a t-shirt and shorts and not caring about the cold. Those are the people that ran hot and had extra insulation and needed to get rid of some of their body temperature. So it made sense.
Oh my gosh, Americans act like it's basically the apocalypse and time to whip out everything that you own and put it on and walk to school.
And for a lot of Canadians, that is very true, because not all Canadians were born in the cold. And not all Canadians who were born in the cold like the cold. And a lot of Canadians come from other parts of the world where they don't get snow, so it's a giant shock to move here and find that the air is cold, the rain is super cold, everything is frozen, and nothing is nice. Yeah, I don't like winter.
Do Canadians just develop some kind of special second skin or hardened ability to regulate their temperature from being exposed to the cold for all their life? Is this a developed skill?
So resistance to the cold is an adaptive behavior of humans, yes. If you spend enough time in the cold, your body will adjust. It's not evolution, it's adaptation, and it's a thing.
I don't actually believe that that's possible, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. She's saying that she didn't wear big poofy jackets like I do growing up. Was it just to be cool and show that you can live through the cold?
You know, there have been moments in my time where I've stepped outside during the cold, snowy days, and I was wearing my inside clothes. Yes, it's difficult, but if you're just going to put the garbage out or collect the mail, then it's not that serious. You know, you don't need to bundle up just to go to the end of the driveway and come back, even if your driveway is about half a kilometer long. Sometimes you just tough it up. You'll be fine. Just make sure that the blood keeps flowing, move so that you generate body heat, and you should be okay when you get back inside and warm up again.
Or are Canadians just a little tougher? Maybe that's what it is.
And then I went to Singapore.
Yes, well, winters that get to -40 and summers that get to +40, they will toughen up a people. Absolutely. And yes, Canadians can be very tough. And we're okay with that because we're also very gentle.
Where it's like hot year round and they were wearing like Canada Goose jackets and I was like, what? There's like a really funny picture in Vancouver where it snowed one day. It like doesn't snow in Vancouver very often, where this guy's like screaming and running with an ice cream cone. I can't find that photo. And if you in the comments can find it, please show it to me. Canadians are well aware of their priorities. Whatever, just wash your hands. Anyone can come in, just wash your hands, okay? I like that, just wash them. While Canadian policemen are always there.
Is that only in Canada, though, that we wash our hands when going to the washroom and we don't really care? Like, okay, I've been in men's washrooms and had women come in and we're just like, hi. I've had to use a washroom and someone said, just use the women's washroom. And everyone was like, hi. Just don't make a mess of things, right?
Canadian policemen are always there to help you. They are really nice. Changing your tire for you, making sure you get out okay.
Wow.
Oh, there's a car.
I don't think you would ever see that in the United States, just because we'd be, honestly, worried about wasting their time or something. And the other part is they just wouldn't change your tire. It's just not something that would happen. It's not part of their job description, and we are very big on that.
Yeah, and here, the police, I mean, yeah, they're supposed to keep the peace, they're supposed to arrest the criminals, they're supposed to write tickets, but they're also supposed to serve and protect. This makes sense to me. I've had very few bad experiences with police in my time, and I've been doing a lot of things that the police didn't approve of during those times. It's not a big deal, you know? Be polite. Ask how you can help. Don't be confrontational. Easy. Real easy. They're just people doing a thing. It's fine.
Are really nice. changing your tire for you, making sure you get out okay. Oh, there's a cop buying from a lemonade stand. I feel like if this lemonade stand was in America, the cop would be like, do you have a permit? And in Canada, he's just like, oh, yeah, ooh, 25 cents for sure.
Actually,
Okay, that officer looks like they might be dealing with paper money, which means that lemonade is way more than 25 cents.
oh, geez. I'm sure somewhere along the line that has happened, where it had something to do with you can't legally sell lemonade or something without a business license.
Yes, back in the 20-teens, I saw many articles about that, especially American police harassing children for their lemonade stands. Yeah, it was real.
But I think, especially in the good old days in the United States, you'd see more police officers like pulling up, buying some lemonade. Police officers were just more part of the community and like respected as community members and public servants the further back you go, and times have changed, sadly.
Although I heard kids now are like charging $1 for their lemonade stands, and I think that that's a ripoff. Again, you should move here. It's really good here. Nature in Canada is the best makeup artist. Indeed it is. Whenever I would walk to school in high school in the winter, my hair would like often look like this, but only if you leave the house with wet hair. Sometimes I would cry while walking to school because like the wind was so strong it would make my eyes water, and then my tears would freeze onto my face. That was fun.
Totally a thing that happens. Sunglasses, very important in the wintertime, even when it's dark.
While street
I mean, it makes you look like some kind of Frozen character or snow-themed superhero, which is kind of fun.
strong, it would make my eyes water, and then my tears would freeze onto my face. That was fun.
Yeah, and some of the really cold days, like minus 35 and below, even if my mustache or beard was dry, they would still freeze and crystallize just from ambient moisture that was on the air inside. I bring it outside, it sticks to my hair, and it freezes. It was cool, and I don't like it.
While street signs are Dino friendly, I've never seen this in my life. I reject this. I don't believe that this is a part of Canadian culture.
All right, I'm distracted by her pronunciation of dino. Do Canadians say dino?
No, we don't. It's a dinosaur, not a dinosaur. But I suppose that all has to do with how you like to pronounce different vowels. Like tomato, tomato, or potato, potato, dino, dino. That still sounds wrong.
Do you say dinosaurs? Because we say dinosaurs. Is it just her? Is that possibly just her personal interpretation of that word? That would be okay.
Yes, it might be. It might just be a regional thing, and that's fine.
But it's really got me wondering now. I'm distracted from what even we were talking about here.
I've never seen this in my life. I reject this. I don't believe that this is a part of Canadian culture. I am triggered. I'm offended. I am reporting this to HR. Hailing.
Yeah, so the dinosaur sign, I don't quite understand, but I'm thinking it might have to do with the craze a few years ago of people dressing up in dinosaur costumes and doing silly things for internet points.
Canada can reach enormous sizes. It can. Does it not anywhere else? No one else has like golf ball hail? I will say it's like really rare, but like it happens.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I might have seen it once or twice. I can't remember when, though, and I don't remember where, and I didn't pick it up and hold it because it was cold.
Hail is so rare in the United States that when I've seen hail, it's like a lifelong memory. It's like, oh, what a magical day, hail, and it's like hitting you in the face because you aren't used to the fact that it's pelting you with stuff. You're like, oh, wait. This is like not that great. And
yeah, just to be absolutely clear, hail is when ice falls from the sky, and it is not fun.
I've heard that hail can get huge, but certainly have never experienced anything close to a golf ball sized hail. That could dent your car or something, right?
Oh, that can break windshields, absolutely. And hail is actually very interesting. It has mostly to do with upward air currents, and I think it's fascinating, but that's not for now. I guess.
That's like scary.
A hailstorm like an hour north of where I lived, and like the hails were like this big.
Really?
And they were like breaking people's windows and stuff, and that was really scary. Thankfully, it skipped my town. What are they feeding their dog? That is a really big dog. Is that like a Doberman or what? Oh, I would rather have a big dog like this. I need to stop calling him a dog. I'd rather have like a moose than a dog, because my dog is like too small. Winter.
I didn't actually
Okay, but the moose is too big.
know there were moose without antlers. It makes it look like a different creature,
Yeah, it could be young, it could be female.
to be honest. I wasn't sure what we were talking about here. I was kind of waiting for her to say what it was.
I need to stop calling him a dog. I'd rather have like a moose than a dog, because my dog is like too small. Winters in Canada are harsh. I don't know why. Why not just like plow it to the side? As a Canadian, I can't tell you what this guy's doing.
Okay, that person was driving in an unsafe manner. They had a giant sheet of snow and probably ice on top of their car, and they didn't want to brush it off. They just wanted to start driving, which makes it not their problem, makes it someone else's problem, which makes it a bigger problem. Always clean the snow off your car before you start driving. It's actually the law here.
Warning
Yeah.
signs are loud. You can use your broom. You can fly on your broom, but you can't use your unicycle with training wheels because
Okay.
it's really slippery and you will fall and you will die.
Okay, bicycling in the snow is a thing, and I've never seen a sign like that had to do with riding brooms. So, good joke, I guess, maybe? I didn't laugh, did I? Does that make it a good joke? I mean, like, am I important enough to be the one to decide whether a joke is good or not? Moving on!
Stereotypes about Canada that many Americans believe. Canadians are polite. They are. And in fact, every time I'm in the United States and I'm like, thank you, and they're like, I find that to be very rude.
Very rude. I don't like it.
Right. I never even thought about it like that, man. Yeah, a lot of Americans just aren't. It's not that we're trying to be impolite. I think it's that we're just not used to people being polite.
Well, that's just terrible. Now, I've worked on the phones for many, many years, and I've spoken with a lot of people in both Canada, the United States, as well as other countries of the world. And the only place where I'm like, oh, that's so rude after I get off the phone is when I'm speaking with the United States, because I'll say like, well, I hope you have a great day. And they'll be like, bye. It's so rude.
So that when it happens, we don't even know what to think. So it's just like someone's very polite and like, I'm sorry. And you're just like, huh? You know, just grunting. And then you sound even worse than if you said nothing. So it's really a self-fulfilling cycle.
Very rude. Like, it's so
Self-propagating cycle, I think.
hard to say you're welcome. Like, like, it just seems awful, but I don't judge. I'm Canadian. Canadians.
And some Americans are genuinely rude and trying to be rude, but that's just another thing you get used to, unfortunately, in America.
It's so
I don't like it, and I don't want to get used to people just being rude all the time. So that's why I don't leave the house very often. I'm kidding, because when I leave the house around here in Canada, I find nice people, and we're not rude to each other, and it's almost like making friends, except they don't last.
hard to say you're welcome. Like, like, it just seems awful, but I don't judge. I'm Canadian. Canadians love maple syrup. We do. It's delicious. Why wouldn't you? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? You need.
It's one of the healthiest sugars that is available. It's really good for you, like real honey. Stop using granulated sugar, people. It's bad for you. Use maple syrup instead. You'll find that your baked goods are just so much better.
You need to go to Tim Hortons and get a maple donut if you know what you're doing. Canadians are.
Tim Hortons, maple donut.
Well, that's a great sample of maple without having to devote yourself to a whole jar of maple syrup. I personally don't like the maple dip, but that's okay because I don't have to like everything Canadian. No, but the cruller, oh, I love the cruller, and the chocolate dip cruller is probably my favorite donut from Tim Hortons. If you find one, buy one, because it is always worth it.
The most Canadian things I've ever heard in my life are being spoken right now. Also, why are all these stereotypes true about hockey and maple syrup? What was the first one? Oh, that they're polite. Yeah, it's all true. Why is it all true? Maybe Maybe there's some truth to it.
Crazy? Are you out of your mind? Of course, duh. I mean, these are stereotypes where you are, but
Okay, why is it true? Maybe there's some truth to it. Yes? Yes.
it hurts when a stereotype is true. Canadians live in a land of ice and snow. It depends where you are, but typically yes. Canadians love Tim Hortons. This is like our donut shop, okay? And we love
Yeah.
it. Canadians drink a lot of beer. We do. We do.
Oh, I didn't actually really... I don't think that's a American stereotype of Canada, to be honest. Unless we're thinking of hockey. Maybe.
Okay, in Canada, it is totally a stereotype about us drinking better beer than the Americans. So south of the border, the beer is weak and watery, and north of the border, the beer is thick and strong. And I'm not a beer drinker. Water, whiskey, and wine, that's my choice. But, hey, to each their own, and Canadian whiskey is pretty good. It's no Scotch, though.
Maybe. But Americans drink a lot of beer. That's more of an American stereotype, to be honest. Anyway.
We like it too. And every time I meet a guy and he doesn't like beer, I'm like, okay, it's weird, but that's fine. We're not going to date or anything, so it doesn't matter if you don't like beer. Canadians say A.
It's a warning sign if they don't like beer.
You know, I think it's a bit of a warning sign if people like beer, because it's a taste that you have to get accustomed to, right? So you got to work up the appetite for beer. And then if you like drinking beer, why is it? Is it for the hops or the barley? Okay, sure. Is it for the alcohol? You have better options. Is it for the carbohydrates? Because that's not a good thing. Is it because you're an alcoholic? Because that's not a good thing. Sure.
Fine. We're not going to date or anything, so it doesn't matter if you don't like beer. Canadians say A. We do. We're not constantly saying A. This guy's like trying to prove it wrong. He's like, A is used relatively in frequency in Canadian English. We do say A, but not like all the time. I would say
I think this stereotype falls in a unique position in American culture, because Americans think that Canadians saying A is a stereotype, an exaggeration. It's too silly. It can't be true. So it's almost like come full circle, where Americans used to think Canadians said A. Then we had all this weird cartoons and stuff with the Canadian accent and them saying A. And now Americans think, oh, I don't think that's true, actually. That's just an exaggeration. Whereas, in fact, it was kind of true, a little bit true. So, I don't know, it's kind of a middle ground, kind of a weird scenario.
Well, it is a word used in Canada that is not used other places, so yes, it's a commonly used Canadian phrase, I guess. Never thought anything weird of it until Americans started pointing it out, and then I'm just like, hey, why don't you use such a word? It's very versatile.
say it like 5 times a day, so to me that's like a lot. Canadians say a boot. I say about. Most Canadians say a boat rather than a boot. I don't know a boat that. I say about. It's like almost like a silent T. It's like about. I don't
Yeah, this shattered my whole world when I first learned that Canadians don't say a boot.
Well, some do. Some do it on purpose, and some don't even realize they do. It's just the way that the regional accent plays out. And pay very close attention to the way people around you say the word about, and you might hear a boat, a boot, or about. You might not even hear the T or the B. It might just be out. About. Out. Yeah, out. Language is weird.
But I still think Canadians say sorry. But I may stand corrected on that. I need something to latch on to, you know? Something has to be true in my life about this.
don't know about that. That's what I say. Canadians make love in canoes. Haven't tried it, but I guess I will this summer. All Canadians speak French. Yeah, it's like mandatory, but I forgot because I haven't been in school for a while. But I took French until like grade 11. Canadians are taxed to death.
You know, French is pretty widely known that there are French Canadians in the United States. And they certainly would, in the United States, have no concept of where or why people in Canada speak French. So, yeah, it's kind of true.
All right, for me, where is wherever I can. Why is because I grew up near Ottawa, which is right next to Quebec, and French immersion was offered, so my parents enrolled me, and so I got to learn French. Now, how has that benefited me? It's allowed me more jobs, and it allows me a slightly higher pay than my Anglophone counterparts, because I can do more, so I get paid more. And when is it really helpful? When speaking with people whose dominant language is French, when wanting to talk about something without certain people understanding what I'm saying. And, well, it's good for the brain to exercise multiple languages. Switching back and forth entre anglais and français is a good exercise pour pratiquer les langages and for making sure the brain stays sharp et peut toujours changer à l'atmosphère, à les choses qui se passent entre nous et ici et là, to read certain signs that might not be the same in one language or another. Oh yeah, heck, when a plane is taking off or landing, Air Canada, sometimes the messages in English and French are different. And I've heard it before where the English would give safety information that the French did not, and the other way around, where the French would give very important safety information that they figured the Anglophones just didn't need to hear.
Because I haven't been in school for a while, but I took French until like grade 11. Canadians are taxed to death. I mean, kind of worth though. All Canadians live in the wilderness. No.
Okay, so the taxes, like, doesn't everyone pay tax? But yes, we pay tax on tax, and recently a tax on the tax on the tax has been introduced. So when we buy gas, we are, well, first, we're taxed when we make our money. Second, we're taxed when we spend our money. And third, our tax can be taxed. And fourth, the tax that is taxed on the tax can be taxed as well. It's just everything is taxed, and we don't have to pay $1,000 medical bills for help when we're dying.
No. I live in Toronto and I don't live in the wilderness, but when I lived in Vancouver, I lived in a suburb called Burnaby for a while, and I lived like on a mountain.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about this one. The stereotype that Americans think Canadians are very naturalistic, like in the wild, love camping, always outside.
True. I grew up in a forest. Camping is a big summertime activity. People go outside and go hiking in protected areas. Yes. And I think camping is something that even a lot of immigrants will do. They'll come here and then they'll learn, oh, we can go spend time in a forest somewhere and get away from the city. Yes, let's do that. It's very common.
Oh, well, sort of look like lumberjacks even.
Well, what can I say? I work all night and I sleep all day.
I forgot about that one. That is an American thought about Canada, huh? I wish that one were more true. Maybe it is true. This one I haven't had a lot of clarity on.
But when I lived in Vancouver, I lived in a suburb called Burnaby for a while, and I lived like on a mountain. So I did live in the wilderness. But in Alberta, I didn't. Actually, unless you would consider prairies the wilderness, but
Yes.
I don't. Canadians are all about plaid. Not anymore. Canada's big.
Oh yeah, that was a thing in the 90s for sure. Now it's reserved for certain groups of people that like to display their membership by wearing certain clothing.
Big, okay? Everybody's like assuming that it's all the same all around, but it is big. Canada is.
That is actually, I don't even know if she truly knows how big of an important point that is. Americans do think of Canada as all just this one place. Oh, that's Canada. It's Canada. They do that there. They all talk like that. They all have that. They all wear plaid. Whereas the reality is Canada is like incredibly diverse with tons of territories and provinces, each with their own individual cultures and identities that are very different.
Absolutely. And I think the most obvious example of all that are the Newfoundlanders, or Newfies, as we call them. They've got their own world going on over there. And I really hope that Tyler does a video about that I get to enjoy in the future.
So that is not a concept that Americans, on average, understand at any level. So, a really interesting thing I've learned.
It's free from gun violence. There's not as much. Canadian police get around on horseback. Some of them do, and it's hilarious, and we don't want to put a stop to it. All Canadians know one another. I hate when I'm like, oh, I live in Canada, and a guy's like, oh, nice, do you know, like, Susie Carter? Like, no, it's pretty big up here. Big.
Yeah, the second largest country in the world, and we have the population of California. So, no, we're all spread out. We don't know each other. But that was definitely a big concept in the 80s and 90s, is that, oh, Canadians all know each other. But we don't. Heck, I don't know most of the people on my street, let alone in my neighborhood, let alone in my town, let alone in my region. And then there's a whole province, which is way larger than you think.
Big country. Canada uses monopoly money as its currency. Don't tell anyone that. I walk around.
It does look like Monopoly money.
All right, so that's a largely United States opinion because they use money that is all the same color, when most of the world actually uses money that all the bills are different colors, so you can see what it represents without having to examine all the writing. Makes sense.
It's actually pretty beautiful compared to the United States. It is way more beautiful than the United States money. But because our money is so boring and bland, we think of that as like, oh, that's like a cartoon. That's like a Monopoly game money.
Guys like, oh, nice, do you know, like, Canada uses monopoly money as its currency. Don't tell anyone that. I walk around telling people that I'm rich so they can't find out that I use monopoly money as currency. It's like currently working right now. It's like the biggest scam in history. Wait a second. You can only get Kinder Surprises in Canada?
Yeah, well, you can't get them in the United States, and I think that's a silly, funny story that has to do with child safety. The important thing is that Kinder Surprise toys used to be a lot better than they are these days. Yeah.
How did Kinder Surprises
Really?
get banned in the States for kids choking on them? Like, are Canadian kids, like, smarter? Why are they still out here? And
Yeah, maybe.
why has nobody ever choked on one? If this is like a Canadian thing, then why does it have a different language? Uberash.
Even the little tiny toys in some of our Happy Meals in our McDonald's have gotten recalled and taken away because of, apparently it's a big choking hazard.
I think that has a lot to do with parental supervision. As for why there's a different language, it's because German, Kinder, refers to children. So the Kinder Surprise is a surprise for the children, which is why I can't read what that says because of the size of it, but hey, it's fantastisch, right?
I don't know. All I know is that whenever I got these as a kid, like, I used to just eat the chocolate and throw away the toy. When they made just the Kinder chocolate, I was like, yes, yes. In closing, Canadians have really nice treats and are nice to each other. Unfortunately, I'm not triggered at the stereotypes because they're true. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you'd ever like to...
Oh, exactly. Some of the stereotypes are true. They're nice stereotypes, at least. This was by Gloom. And I can see why you have 7 million subscribers, because that was really good. That was really funny. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. So I give it a like.
Well, I think it's time for our French word of the day. Now, this was supposed to be a list of weird things that exist in Canada. Now, let's translate the word weird. Weird, very much a Canadian word, or English word, rather. And what equates to weird? Strange. What is the French word for strange? Étrange. Étrange. So weird can translate to étrange. All right. Thank you for joining. Let's see the outro.
Anyway, I really did enjoy that video. It's
okay.
good to hear from a Canadian. A lot of little insights like this that you really would not, especially as an American, ever be able to truly get this kind of insight. Even though
And this is kind of where I come in, is I like to just add a little bit of context, answer questions, and give an added perspective that you might not get watching Tyler's videos.
a lot of it was funny and some of it wasn't true, a lot of it was really insightful and true. So take that for what you will. I I really did enjoy this. It was actually a pretty diverse set of subjects. I was thinking, weird things that only exist in Canada? What could you possibly be talking about? Lo and behold, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, like the moose crossing signs. I doubt we'll see that anywhere in Afghanistan.
That exist in Canada that don't really exist anywhere else. Some things I knew of, some I really never did know of. But now I'm just wondering what exists here in the United States that I don't even realize. Anyway, I guess that's just a part of living life, if you will. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Different places are different and have different things. Who knew?
Getting too philosophical means it's time to wind it down, wrap it up. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like.
Or this
or
one.
Leave a comment.
Like
and if you're interested in more
thoughts,
videos like this, me
like
reacting
this,
to Canada,
me reacting
Canadian
to him,
culture,
reacting
things
to
and
us,
stuff there that
what
I have
we
never
have,
seen or heard before.
Me giving
feel
context.
free to subscribe
Go ahead.
for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time. What's going on?
Well, thank you very much for watching, indeed. I hope you enjoyed this even a little bit as much as I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. She went really fast. That was a little fast for me, but nothing wrong with it. And nothing wrong with this, nothing wrong with her, nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with today. And I hope you have yourself a wonderful day and just keep being awesome. Bye.
Science, spirit, life, Nerd Pumpkin.